welcome to Wisdom 2.0 Asia. In case you didn't know, I was the man she chased for 3 years. And you'll meet Ming and Cindy in a moment, which are the other pair of us who kind of conspired to put all this together. But before I say more, I would love to get a sense of who's in this room. And one of the ways I was thinking of doing that is just to ask you to stand when I mention a country, so we can kind of get a sense of where you all come from. So if you're from Singapore, could you just stand for a moment so we can get a sense of all the local Singaporeans? Wow, look around. You're the Singaporeans. OK. If you could please take your seat. If you are from Japan, anybody from Japan? Ah. You're from Japan. How about Korea? Oh, excellent. Malaysia? Wow. Wow. Big. India. We've done this before, and people actually have met. They had friends. They're both from a different country. They had friends. They didn't know they were coming. And then when they both stood up, they're like, you're here. So what countries am I missing that's also representative in this room? If you could say the country you're from and just... All right, Philippines, stand. So we have a very boisterous Philippine community. It's good to know. Anyone else willing to share? Australia, yeah, Australia. The Netherlands. Wow. OK. A fellow Netherlander. What? Scotland. Wow. All the way from Scotland. Hong Kong. Hong Kong, China. Lithuania. 2 people from Lithuania. Norway. Wow, welcome. France, welcome. USA. Yeah, United States. Israel, Yaakov from Israel. Sri Lanka, welcome. Vienna, Austria. Wow. Mexico. Stand, Mexico. Yay. Germany. Wow. I thought this was going to take about 60 seconds, but it's great. Italy. Wow. Welcome. Denmark. Welcome. Taiwan. Okay. China. Oh, welcome. England. Welcome. Yes? Oh, you're from England. OK. I think we've hit most countries. What else? What could we be missing? Ireland. Yes. Welcome. Maldives. Wow. Borneo. Cambodia. And Belgium? South Africa. Wow. So you are truly a global community. And in many ways, it makes sense that we're in Singapore, right? Because Singapore is a hub for so many different kinds of people and different kinds of commerce. So if you found somebody, and you notice somebody you're interested in talking to, we're going to have breaks. And actually, a very important part of the conference is what happens at the break. So if there's somebody you want to talk to from Mexico and you just saw them stand, please feel free to reach out. And part of what we like to create here at Wisdom 2.0 is multiple learning opportunities. So you're definitely going to learn from the speakers that we have. And we have an amazing group of speakers from really all over the world who will be coming. So that's one source of learning. But another source of learning is each of you. And often at breaks, there's amazing conversations that can happen, whether it's on the way to the bathroom or while getting tea, or there's all sorts of opportunities for wisdom to show itself. So I encourage you to take advantage of the full range of opportunities. The other thing that Nisha had said that I want to emphasize, and you guys are doing a great job of it, is there's nothing more powerful for a speaker to walk out and feel the presence of the audience. And I've seen speakers come out, and when the audience is like busy looking at their phones or they're just not very present, what the person feels inspired to say is often very limited. And when a speaker walks out and they're met with the full presence of an audience, the most amazing, powerful things can happen. So even though you're sitting in the audience and there's a stage and it looks like there's a separation between the two, actually in many ways we all participate in the creation of the content together. So your full presence is just deeply appreciated and deeply respected and honored, because it's really you all that create the content along with us. So thank you for joining us in that. I want to give a brief history of Wisdom 2.0, and then I'm going to welcome. Oh, we missed somebody from Estonia. Mr. from Estonia, can you please stand? Estonia. Thank you. And Estonia is always getting forgotten about, isn't it? It's just like it just doesn't get the attention it needs. So thank you. So brief history about Wisdom 2.0 for those of you who are new. Actually, could you raise your hands quickly if you've been to a Wisdom 2.0 conference before, somewhere in the world? Oh, cool. All right, Colleen, yes. So it began 7 years ago, just kind of, I don't say I had the idea. I think the idea was wanting to happen, so I was looking for a host. And so the idea emerged, which is that as technology becomes increasingly invasive and ubiquitous in our culture, and our screens take up more and more of our attention, it's both beautiful on one level, but it's also enormously challenging on another level, because it's so easy to forget amidst all of our texting and phone calls and emailing that there's a quality of presence that's in each one of us that's actually more valuable than anything that technology can offer. So the inquiry with Wisdom 2.0 is, how do we live ancient wisdom in a modern time? So it's not about giving up our cell phone and giving up our email, but it's about bringing a quality of presence and attention and connection and compassion into all of our interactions, and that the teachings of all the great traditions are livable in this day and age. And how do we live ancient wisdom in a modern time? So that's the inquiry. And the answers come from various different sources. And what we're seeing is there's actually somewhat of a global movement of people who love their technology, but who also feel that there's a deeper calling and a deeper potential inside them. And without wisdom, without compassion, and if we have all the cool robots in the world and all the cool fancy phones in the world, and we don't have wisdom and we don't have compassion, the world that we're passing on to our children and the world that we're inhabiting is going to be very void and very meaningless. And so many of us are now gathering to see, how do we live wisely and compassionately within this age? So in the Bay Area anyways, we started out with just a couple hundred people, and now it's up to about 3,000 people. We've had the founders of Twitter and Facebook and eBay and all the kind of major tech companies, because they're also interested in the same question. So it's not this movement, as I call it. It isn't just like a few people kind of on the side. It actually feels like it's growing, and it's growing from within the tech community as well. So you guys are part of that. We don't know what's happening, and so part of actually the good thing about this inquiry, how do we live wisely and compassionately in the digital age, is there's no real answer to it per se. It's more about an investigation, and it's more about us inviting you into that exploration. And I think what we'll find is that there's a community that's growing, and that it's really up to us to forge the world that we want to see in the world. And for me anyways, it's this inner dimension that if that isn't present, no amount of money, no amount of fame, no amount of new iPhone, iWatch, whatever, is going to make us happy, because we see people with all the money in the world and all the fame in the world, and they're miserable, and all the latest gadgets in the world, they're miserable. And so there's this inner dimension, there's this inner exploration that's essential for a livable world and for a happy human being. So we're here to tap into that and to explore that for ourselves. So welcome to that exploration, and thank you for joining us at the first two Wisdom 2.0 Asia. Next. Next, I'm very happy and honored to welcome up Chade-Meng Tan and his partner Cindy Tan, wife Cindy Tan, who are the co-organizers of this event. So Ming and Cindy, could you please come up?
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
My friends, she's Cindy.
He's Ming.
She's beautiful.
He has good taste. Good morning. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's meditation by the bay and the delightful opening reception and have an inspiring next 2 days. It is a great pleasure to be here among these wise and compassionate leaders, leaders who inspire others to contribute to their communities and create consciousness of our environment and doing good in the world. My love, how do you feel today?
I feel I have durian throat. You spend 2 weeks in Singapore, you get enough durian. Yeah. This is what happens. Besides having durian throat, I also feel that we are making history. A couple years ago, 7 years ago actually, 7 years ago, Soren created Wisdom 2.0, the very first Wisdom 2.0 conference, and he invited me to speak as the first inaugural speaker. And what did I say? I said no.
Said you were busy.
Busy. Boeing. Where got time? I was too busy. And so he asked me again. And I said no. He asked me 3 times. I said no 3 times. So what happened? He gave up, and he invited my boss's boss, who is Laszlo, the senior vice president at Google. And Laszlo said, this sounds like a good idea. It sounds like a main thing. So he forwarded to me. I cannot run away. Couldn't run away. So I did that, right? And then what happens? So we did that, and then it grew into, you fast forward 70 years. It grew into a global phenomenon. And then last year, in the year 2014, what happened? In 2014, I heard a voice. There's a voice that told me, you have to do this in Singapore. And the voice came from my wife. She said, I want this in Singapore, get it done.
Last year, it was my first time attending Wisdom 2.0 conference in San Francisco. I saw my weakness, and I don't know how to overcome this self that I define. Some of the speakers share how they overcome this self and how they achieve great things and make things possible, what they think was impossible. I was inspired and touched by what they said. Why go to mountains to seek the master when you can see the master here? So I asked Ming to make Wisdom 2.0 happen in Singapore.
And I couldn't say no. Why? Because Confucius said, happy wife is happy life. And who am I to say no to Confucius, right? Oh yeah, Confucius also said, men who run after car get exhausted. Anyway.
Side note.
It's off script. But more than listening to Confucius, more than happy wife, happy life, I also see how important it is to bring Wisdom 2.0 to Asia. Because a lot of these wisdom practices that are like on fire, like wildly popular in the West, in America and in Europe, originate right here in Asia. So by bringing Wisdom 2.0 back to Asia, we are bringing East and West together. We are forging a beautiful merger of the ancient wisdom of the East with the scientific orientation of the West. And then together, we can do this to benefit everybody in the world. And today, my friends, this event, Wisdom 2.0, is a big step in making that happen.
I told you so.
She told you so.
Thanks a lot, brother. Well, brother Samoa.
I'm thankful to Meng, my family, Soren, Kat, Grania, Nisha, Marion, Peter, Kimiko, June, MCI team, Liling, Rebecca, staff, the volunteers, the speakers, the sponsors, and all of you here who make this happen. Thank you and wish you well and happy.
I want to thank my brother here, Soren. Soren personifies Wisdom 2.0. He wrote the book, he created a conference, and he holds it in his being. So without him, this would not have happened. I also especially want to thank my wife. This event, bringing this here to Asia, it was really her idea. She insisted on making it happen. She made it happen. She got us together. Without her, this would never happen. So this is her karma, her doing. Also, I want to thank our guest of honor, Minister Heng Swee Keat, for his support of Wisdom 2.0 Asia. By the way, for those of you who do not know, we were having dinner with him yesterday. He's so busy, he doesn't get time to eat dinner at home on weekdays anymore. He's that busy, and he gives us his support. He gives us his time. So I'm very thankful to him. We all met him. We're very thankful to him, and we're thankful to him for the goodness of his being. So thank you, Minister Heng. And finally, my friends, I want to thank all of you. Because all of you, you are making history with us. Without you, there will be no history. Thank you.
Before I leave, in case of emergency, the toilets are there and there and there. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.